Today we're going to turn this into this steampunked leather mouse. We're going to open this, pull out the battery, and then the tricks. Alright, here's the trick to opening the mouse. That's the battery compartment. Right in here, if you rub your finger on the sticker, you'll see a spot where it doesn't leave quite the right impression. And when you do that, that's where the screw is. So, alright, so it turns out finding this spot is a little tricky. It looks like it's right around the word battery here. We pop right through the sticker right about there and find a screw. There's a little tiny Phillips head screw in there. If you can get that out, the whole mouse comes apart. Now we can simply pry this open and gently wiggle it apart. And there we go. So here you've got the insides. This is obviously the scroll wheel, which we're going to have to modify. This is the left mouse button, right mouse button, and the bottom. And then this guy, don't lose that screw either. The top piece here, this comes apart in two pieces. There is a catch right here and right here. And if you squeeze those, then the whole top pops right off. There's a third catch, I forgot about that one in the back here. And the whole piece pops right off. And now we're ready to do some fun stuff. Now one of the main features on this guy is this expanded metal, and this is nothing more than just the perforated aluminum, very thin, very small. This has a larger diamond-sized hole pattern in it, and this one is a smaller diamond-sized hole pattern. Both of them are very thin and very flexible. You can cut it with scissors easily, and this is what we're going to use to create this dimpled pattern on the outside. These are available at Hobby Lobby, and I also have a link on my Amazon affiliate as an Amazon associate in the description below. The actual skin that we use is simply aluminum duct tape. Easy to find. I've got a link to that as well in the listing below. If you buy it from Amazon, I'll get credit for the sale. It won't cost you a cent more, so please click on those links. For the scroll wheel, this is a little tricky. This is a piece of brass pipe, and we've knurled it. And I'm going to knurl it again to show you that on the lathe. But this is what we use for making that scroll wheel. I've also got leather here from Real Leather, which you can find in the Amazon links below. You'll never find the same thing twice, probably, but there's a variety of pieces here that are infinitely suitable for this kind of project. I'm going to use this piece. This was intended to be the top side originally, but I just love the suede on the back here. It's so soft, and it just looks great. I mean, it feels nice, it looks nice. So I'm going to use that suede side. I love it. Okay, so we just need to cut some of this aluminum perforated metal to wrap around the outside of the case first. So grab some scissors, and it's that easy. The strips may be about 3 inches wide here. It's very easy to cut this stuff, even though it's metal. It is sharp though, so be careful. Next we're going to grab a can of 3M spray glue. This is good stuff to have around. We're going to spray the inside of this foil so it sticks to the plastic on the mouse. And then we're going to start wrapping it around the mouse. And I always put the front of the mouse in the middle of the foil and then work my way toward the back. And you want to make sure this is good and stretched around so you don't have any folds and gaps and things like that. Okay, we're still working our way to the back here. When we get to the back of it, make sure it's pressed down pretty good and then cut a nice little angle here. We start folding it over the top and folding it over the bottom a little. This process takes time. Start trimming. Starting to look about right. Now we want to carefully trim the inside edges so that the buttons don't get stuck, the mouse buttons, on this extra metal that's in here. You can see it's pretty easy to cut this metal even with a razor blade. Do a quick check to make sure the buttons work. They still push, that's good. To trim the inside too. Okay, we'll give this a test fit. Carefully clean the inside. We have to push the front in first. Pop the back in. And looks good. Okay. Looks like both of them are working. This one was a little bit tight though. So I'm going to actually sand the edge of the plastic because we still have to put tape on here. Alright, I'm just going to trim the edges a little bit here with the file so that they're a little bit looser. Okay, every part of this is trickier than the last part. So we're going to go ahead and start trying to figure out how to put the tape on here. You want to make sure you get a long enough piece to go all the way around and then some. So go ahead and cut a slice. You're going to start from the front, but this is an angle, so you have to start at the top of the front so that the end ends in the right spot at the bottom. The top and this is the bottom. This part's a little harrowing. Let's go ahead and try. Go ahead and peel it all off. You want to pull it tight. And cut it at the edge, at the very end here. I like to cut mine at an angle so there's a little bit of overlap. We're going to start rubbing that in from the front toward the back, trying to get rid of all the wrinkles as we go. There's always wrinkles in the back. Okay, so now we have our leather, and we're going to spray glue onto it the mouse piece. And we want to just make sure this fits here as best we can and leave as much leather behind as we can for the next project. So go ahead and cut this out. Alright, so we got the pieces in the trash can here. On a piece of paper, we do not want any of the spray glue getting behind the leather on the good side. So let's go ahead and spray this on. Plastic. Make sure you stretch out enough for the wrinkles, but not overstretch it. That can cause other issues. Okay, while the glue's still a little wet, we want to just work it down, make sure it's pressed down real well. All the way around. And then we'll just let it sit there and dry for a while. Okay, this is probably the hardest part of the project. We want to take this wheel out, and you can pry your nails under it a little bit and sort of pull it out. Actually, this whole thing lifts out, makes it easier. We got to pry the wheel out here. It's kind of tricky to pull out, and there's a spring here that we also have to be a little careful of. Spring stays in place. Alright, this wheel, we can easily pull the rubber off the outside of it. Just give it a good pinch. You can see the rubber just pulls right off. You can throw this out, we're not going to use it. Okay, this spindle, we have to cut this ridge down in the middle, and then cut this brass up to fit perfectly on the outside of that so that it captures beautifully. I've already knurled the edge here a little bit. I'm going to have to go ahead and cut this to size and trim it up a bit. But this is really the goal here, is to get this piece to fit nice and snug inside the brass. And then we'll have a beautiful brass ring. Turns out when I made this piece last, I oversized the brass slightly. It's about 6'5", 7", somewhere around that neighborhood. Normally it's somewhere around 6'4", 5". So we got to make sure. Yeah, the inner piece here is only 6'4", 7". So I could remake this piece, or I could just cut this until it's 6'5", 7", and it'll fit better. Or we could even put a spacer in there. This is a simple knurling tool here. If you run the piece through both wheels, you'll end up with a diamond-shaped pattern. Just for fun, I want to run it through just one, so I'm going to actually intentionally touch only one of the wheels so that I get the single diagonal pattern on it. I just think that looks cool. So we'll go ahead and get that installed. Nice deeper knurl here. See how that is. Oh, that looks much better. It's a nice looking knurl. I'll just clean the edge up a little bit here, chamfer it off. Okay, now we got a boring bar ready here. Let's check the dimensions inside. Okay, it's reading about 615. We need to go to 645-ish. There we go, just about 41. And we want to try to fit this wheel in there nice and snug. It's pretty darn close. I think we got two thousandths to go still. Yeah, maybe about 5 thousandths to go still. Spot on. Oh yeah, that's a nice tight fit there. Alright, now we got to get the ring off of this little one. Okay, we got the little knob in there. It's a little precision job getting that thing in the chuck right, but let's try. There we go. Here's the brass ring. It's going to be perfectly tight, and then we're going to press it in. Better. Okay, now we set up the spindle over some holes so we don't crush the plastic nib coming out the other side into the brass. And we simply use a drill press. Use the drill as a press. This is not actually a drill. This is a milling machine. And we just squeeze it down into the brass, like so. Could probably go a little further, and squeeze it in like this. Alright, use the original tube here to try to center it a little bit better. Okay, little tricks. Okay, a little tricky getting this piece back in. Sometimes you need some help, because we need to get that spring back into the center piece of the wheel. And then it kind of snaps right back in. Oh man, it's just beautiful. The brass adds so much mass to it that it spins fluidly. It's really awesome. And this is easy to pop right back in. Alright. Again, we're going to pop this thing back on. And then once we trim the leather, pop that on. Trim around the leather. After a while of pecking at it with the razor blade, it's starting to take on some shape here. It's looking good. Next we got to put the decorative buttons in. Alright, today we're going to put the finishing touches on this mouse that we've been working on. And my finishing touches are going to be these cool little metal buttons here that go on, that are going to go like this. Now, where did I get these buttons? Well, these are little beads actually. They have small holes running through them. I picked them up at Hobby Lobby. They come in a little case like this, just a whole bunch of them. And I made a metal fixture here that you pop it into, and then you just have it on a sanding machine and sand the back of it off, because they're awful thick. When you sand the back off, it looks something like this, and it's nice and flat. And so now we can glue it down here. Now I like to actually have this countersunk into the leather, and so the way I do this is I sort of imagine my hand sitting on here. Where would I like these buttons to be? And I'd say right about here. Now, what is this? Well, this is a steel pipe that I had, and I machined the inside edge and machined a little bit on the outside here to make it the right size for these buttons, and it's really sharp on the edge here. So I just take this and push it into the leather, and rotate it, and this gives me a perfect little cutout for the decorative metal piece. So we'll go ahead and finish this up here. Pull out a little circle of leather. Work a little more on this one. Pop that out. And then we're just going to drop these guys in. After we glue them in, just putting them in for fun here first. But you see, that's how it will end up looking once it's glued together. So now we've got some beautiful buttons glued in, so the top piece is all finished. Now the last trick here is to take a small metal ball like this and dimple every one of these pieces, every one of these raised portions here. This is a little time consuming, but it's worth it in the end. You get some really cool pattern here built up when you do enough of these dimples. Sometimes you can just rub it along the side like this. You can see the effect it has. It's really nice. Okay, finished dimpling it, and now let's start putting it back together. Just have to snap this guy in. Make sure it's connected in all the right places. We've got our beautiful looking mouse now. Put the guts back inside. Front end first. There's some tabs that have to slide in. We'll make sure everything fits good. We got our mouse pretty much back together here. To go give it a test out. Okay, we got the mouse. The controls work great. So let's put the little receiver in. Turn the mouse on. And it works. There we go. You can right click, left click. Everything that you should be able to do with it. Can scroll wheel works. Fully functional. Beautiful and very comfortable as well.